And all these calculations are known as stoichiometry. Stoichiometry is the calculation of chemistry. Huh? Oh, I'm on mute. Sorry. So although we'll be taking up, I will be following this red book, the what do you call, soft copy is there with all of you. Though we'll be taking up one last problem of the red book, that's on print page 92. Print page 92. Okay. Worked example 4.6. Print page 92. Worked example 4.6. Okay. But we are actually getting on to the next chapter, that is chemical calculations. Some of the things that you will need to understand this chapter. Okay, have your concepts about 2-3 things clear. If you are a covalent compound, I hope you know now by now what is a covalent compound. So then you will be represented by something called molecular formula. If you are a covalent compound, you are represented by a molecular formula. Covalent compound means something like CO2. CO2 is a covalent compound. Okay. Then if you are an ionic compound, you will be represented by, is the periodic table brought or not? Yes, that's good. उसमें दिखाई देगा? Good. I'm happy. So in an ionic compound, it will be known as the formula unit. Means we call this as a molecule, we'll call this as a formula unit. This will have what is known as a molecular mass and referred to as MF, and this will have, sorry, molecular mass, say MR, and this will have what is known as formula mass, and this is, in our days, in our school days, we used to call them with the same name, but now you should know them with different names because nowadays we call them as molecular formula and molecular mass. Okay, just cross checking because that's how they use it. Relative molecular mass, relative formula mass. Right. And obviously, don't forget the word relative. Relative, relative. Now, how to find this out? This is the sum of, this is called sigma, this is the sum of relative atomic mass of all atoms into respective count. Respective count. Did you understand what I mentioned by this respective count? Matlab, say for example, I have a covalent compound which is CO2. Then the molecular mass will be sum of the atomic mass of all atoms. So that is, what is the relative atomic mass of carbon? 12. Then oxygen into respective count. So 12 means we have got only one carbon atom. So carbon's atomic mass is 12. How to get the atomic mass? Refer your periodic table. And right now, don't get into the decimal wala part. Go by the whole numbers only, nearest whole numbers. It will be easy for you to calculate. And then how many oxygens, beta? Each oxygen is 16 multiplied by 2, so that gives you 44. Is this correct? Have you understood? ठीक है, समझ में आया? और यहाँ पे हम क्या लिख देते हैं? यहाँ पे हम U लिख देते हैं. 44U. 44 relative atomic mass unit. So similarly here also we get, this is also the same formula. Only thing is we call it a formula mass. We call it a. Is this much clear? Okay. Right. This knowledge you need. The next knowledge you will need is to write, this is most important, write a balanced chemical equation. If this is wrong, everything is wrong. Balanced chemical equation, and know how to interpret it. How to interpret it. यही पे गड़बड़ी होगा आपका. The second वाले में गड़बड़ी होगा. Garbadi is not about writing the balanced chemical equation. Interpreting the chemical equation, you will make a mistake. So pay utmost attention on this step. Okay. Usually the questions will have a balanced chemical equation. Sometimes they may not have. So whether they have or not, you should make a habit of writing the chemical equation and writing it in the balanced manner. That should be your habit. ठीक है? जैसे एक example लिखता हूँ. say for example, formation of water. We all know hydrogen reacts with oxygen to give us water. Now this equation is not balanced. So how to balance it? We write it 2H2 plus O2, 2H2O. This is balanced chemical equation. All our calculations will happen with regard to this. If you cannot write this, then your calculations will go for a toss. Okay? Now let's interpret this. Do you know, answer me absolutely properly, do you know the difference between this and this? Do you know the difference between this and this? What is the difference? George, see, so don't say within your heart, but I'm teaching, I need energy from your side. Answer can be wrong, I don't mind. You are here to learn. Yeah. There's nothing about her. This is hydrogen molecule. This is hydrogen atom. As simple as that. Right? Hydrogen molecule has how many atoms? 2 atoms. Have you understood? What is the relative atomic mass of this? 1. What is the relative atomic mass of this? 2. 2. Understood? So let's first understand at a basic level how to interpret this reaction. Look what I'm reading it as. 2 molecules of hydrogen react with 1 molecule. Observe each word that I'm saying. 2 molecules of hydrogen react with 1 molecule of oxygen to give 2 molecules of water. Clear? 1 molecule of hydrogen comprises of 2 atoms of hydrogen. We are having 2 molecules of hydrogen, so of all we are having 4 atoms of hydrogen. Clear? 2 atoms of oxygen. Ultimately, the atom count has to tally. 2 molecules of water. Each molecule of water has 2 hydrogen. This is 2 molecules of water, so you get 4 hydrogen. So hydrogen is satisfied. And 1 is not molecule. 1 atom of oxygen per molecule of water. Now 2 molecules, so 2 molecules, 2 atoms of oxygen. Clear? Right. And now you will see the mass balance will tally. 2 into, look at this is there is a law. This law is called, though you don't study but you can write it, law of conservation of mass. Okay, this law was given by French chemist Antoine Lavoisier. Sueir. Antoine Lavoisier was again guillotined during French Revolution. He was found of money laundering, and they say after his head was cut off, his is the only case where the eyes blinked after the head was chopped off also. So Antoine Lavoisier said mass of the reactants should always be equal to mass of products. Do you understand? Mass of reactants, he says, mass of reactants should always be equal to mass of products. ये याद रखिए, होना ही पड़ेगा. But again, in today's world, we have changed this law. This law was set by Antoine Lavoisier, was guillotined in French Revolution, means the period is 1700 something. So in those days, nuclear reactions were not known. Today, we don't say law of conservation of mass. We have changed this to law of conservation of mass and energy. Like when an atom bomb will explode, this equation will not be followed. Mass of reactants will not be equal to mass of products. You will find mass of product is very less. When uranium explodes, you will find mass of product is very less. Where did the other mass go? It converted to energy. That's what Einstein says. Energy and mass are interconvertible. E equal to mc square jo bolte hai na. So all the mass, so that's nuclear reaction. But we go by the classical way. So mass of reactants, let's see. Hydrogen is 1. Oxygen is how much? 2 oxygens. So 2 into 16. Kitna hua beta? 32 and 2. So kitna hua hai yahan pe? 34. Is it? No. This is 2 into 2. ये 4 है. तो यहाँ पे कितना हो गया? 32 plus 4, 36. यहाँ पे कितना हुआ देखो? So 2 into, let's see for water. Water is 2 hydrogen. So 2 into 1 plus 16, that is 18. So this side also you will get 36. This thing has to tally end of the day. If this does not tally, somewhere you are doing garbar. Clear? So this knowledge is very important. Write a balanced chemical equation and know how to interpret it. Now I have not yet we have interpreted it only in the kiddo way by only writing molecule. Okay? Can I rub this portion? Okay. Now this interpretation will change after one more thing that I teach you. Okay. Let's come down back to relative atomic mass. I had written those. I hope you remember. So let's see how many of you remember. Let's take for example, let us take oxygen. Oxygen represented by O, atomic number 8, mass number 16. Right? What is this known as? This is known as atomic number. Atomic number, which is equal to the number of protons. And this is equal to mass number, which is equal to number of nucleons. And nucleons means protons plus neutrons. ठीक है बच्चा? समझ में आ गया? Okay. This is mass number. Now, this will be of great importance for us in this particular study. Okay. When you see a periodic table will mention oxygen like this. Oxygen as 8. And what is the value mentioned here? It won't be exactly 16. देखो 16 point something रहेगा. 16.00. That's it. 00 something will be there. Some 16 point. Okay, 15.999. Somebody like it will. They will write it something 15.999. So when you are watching it in the periodic table, this is actually giving you the relative atomic mass averaged for all isotopes by percentage occurrence. ये समझ में आया कि नहीं? बोलो नहीं समझ में आया, दोबारा समझाएंगे. When you are finding, when you see it in the periodic table, right? Look here. This is the mass number. Mass number is a whole number because it's mass number means count of protons and neutrons. Proton neutron तो आधा नहीं हो सकता है ना. But when we see here 15.99, our question comes is, sir, you mean to say some proton was in fragment or some neutron was in fragment? ऐसा नहीं. Oxygen does not occur only as one atom. Every atom will have an isotope. And what happens? These isotopes have a percentage of occurrence. Did we not do this? We did this for chlorine. Remember? Chlorine is 35.5. That's because you have got chlorine 37 and chlorine 35. Both are available. Look, chlorine 35 will never be present as 35.55. Chlorine 35 is present as 35 and chlorine 37 is present as 37. Now, when you take a sample of chlorine in the universe, you find that 75% of that chlorine is chlorine 35. Do you get it? And only 25% of the sample is chlorine 37. So you do a weighted average, not average. You don't add both, you do a weighted average. Weighted average means you are taking 0.25, 0.75, right? And then you are finding what is the overall weighted average of both. The weighted average of both is coming to 35.5. So when we write in the periodic table, when you see it as, because the periodic table is based on atomic number. Ye bhi suno. Sir, you could have not done this nuisance and you could have shown all 3 oxygen atoms in the periodic table. But then the question arises, all 3 oxygen atoms have the same atomic number. Our periodic table is based on atomic number, not mass number. So all the 3 oxygens have the same atomic number. How can I give them 3 different places? Nahi de sakta hu. So I have only one slot for oxygen, and this fellow is now representing oxygen by atomic number and weighted average for all its cousins that are available in the universe. So if you see hydrogen comes in 3 forms: prosium, deuterium, tritium. All are hydrogen 1,1, hydrogen 1,2, hydrogen 1,3. Based on their occurrence, we took their average and we found that the overall average is hydrogen 1.008. Clear? So when you go for, typically when you will be going for, like the children who go for like IBs and other exams and all, there they take 15.999. Why? Because calculator is available. Whereas in CBSE, they will always go with 16 because it's easier, because you don't get a calculator. So they'll tell you what the value is to be taken. If not, you can take a rounded value also, or if you take this also, answer ultimately will come same. Nothing to worry. Got it? So this is the relative atomic mass. That means that if you have to calculate for CO2, and since you have a calculator, you should be calculating carbon not as 12, but whatever 12 point blah 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 is there, plus oxygen is 15.9, and whatever the way the periodic table has been given to you in the exam, take that data and on that data you try to clear. Decimals will not matter you that much. Is this fine? Now what does this represent? When we see this as 16, this represents that, I wrote this once before, mass number of oxygen is 16. Number 2, relative atomic mass of oxygen is 16U. 16U. Third, relative atomic mass expressed in grams is known as gram atomic mass. Gram atomic mass of oxygen is 16 gram, but this is gram atomic mass unit, not the Ratnadeep grams. Mind you, one oxygen cannot be 16 grams, as I told you. This is not like the American dollar. This is the Zimbabwean dollar. समझ में आ रहा है ना? Right. Now then question arises, what is the exact weight of one oxygen atom, right? So for that we come to a definition of a quantity called mole. Mole is just a count. Mole is a count. Doesn't stands for 12. Mole is the SI unit for amount of substance. Amount of substance, and the value for this is 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 particles. So if I tell you what is 1 dozen, 12 numbers. What is 1 mole? 1 mole is equal to this. 1 mole of mustard seeds, 1 mole of dust particles. Mole एक count है. It is nothing with कि आपको सिर्फ chemistry में लगाना है. 1 mole of ions means 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. ये data आपको याद हो जाना चाहिए. ये लेकिन आपको you should memorize this data in your mind. Is that clear? Because we take 6.022, yours is 6.02. Yeah. And this 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 is also known as Avogadro's constant. Now Avogadro has nothing to do with this constant. This is just named in his honor. Avogadro is an Italian chemist, Amido Avogadro. He did jobs in stoichiometry, but this is number का उनके साथ कुछ नहीं, बस इनको इज्जत देने के लिए इसको Avogadro's constant बोलते हैं. ठीक है? Substance. First class in physics we had studied 7 fundamental units. In that, the fundamental unit for amount of substance is mole. Okay. Now, mass. So we get into a new definition here, and a new definition would be molar mass. Molar mass. Molar mass means mass of 1 mole of atoms of an element. Mass of 1 mole of atoms of an element. So example, molar mass of say oxygen means mass of 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 atoms of oxygen. ये समझ में आया? This is called molar mass. एक ऑक्सीजन एटम का नहीं, एक ऑक्सीजन एटम का मास बड़ा ही गड़बड़ी है. इस ये सब नहीं, ये सब रियल मास है. एक ऑक्सीजन एटम will be very very light. So what you are doing? Mass of 1 mole. This is known as molar mass. So here I write this 16 is very useful. The molar mass of an oxygen तो नहीं बोलते हैं. Molar mass of oxygen is 16 grams per mole. 16 grams per mole. Molar mass. This is exact Ratnadeep grams. Molar mass means how many atoms are there? 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 atoms of oxygen gives you 16 grams. 16 grams per mole, और इसको हम m से डिनोट करते हैं, मोलर मास. Now the molar mass can be of 1 mole of atoms of an element, or it can also be for 1 mole of molecules of an element or compound. So let's understand this again, right? Say for example, I ask you, what is the molar mass of water? You say, sir, the molar mass of water is 18 grams per mole. एक मोल का 18 grams per mole, which means if I bring 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 watt, now tell me, and then only I think you have understood. 6.02 into 10 to the power 23, H2O what? H2O molecules. यही कैच है. This is 18 grams. This is 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 atoms. This is molecules. क्योंकि आप एक मॉलिक्यूल का मोलर मास बोल रहे हो, यहां पे एटम से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. पर इतना तक समझ में आया? Just see, if you have not understood anything, stop me right here itself. If anything is Greek and Latin out here. When you are talking about a compound, you are referring to what? Molecule. Compound का सबसे छोटा बेटा कौन है? Molecule. Agreed. So this is 1 mole of H2O molecules. Means how many molecules? 6.022. So many molecules of water, if you go and weigh at Ratnadeep, it will show you how much? 18 grams. ठीक है? And if we just show 18 gram atomic mass unit, that is just to show for the molecular mass of water being converted and shown as in grams. Don't confuse between the two. Is this much clear? I go back to my equation again. So from here we will have one formula. एक formula बनाते हैं. मिटाओ इसको बच्चा, आ जाओ. एक formula बनाते हैं. So you will need this a lot. You know some data. What are the data? Molar mass of any element of an atom of any element will be known to you. How? Periodic table. What is the molar mass of sodium? 23 point something grams. ध्यान दो, बहुत, this is very very clumsy. Molar mass of an atom of any element is known to you. How? Periodic table. ये देखो ना. If oxygen is 16, oxygen's molar mass is also 16. Sodium का कितना है देखो? 23. We take it as 23. So sodium's molar mass is also 23. 23 grams. Means if you take 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 sodium atoms, they will weigh how much? 23 grams. Have you understood? This is always known to you. How do you get to know it? From the periodic table. So M as a quantity is always known to us for an atom. ठीक है? Okay, next time writing. If you don't understand, बेटा खाली लिखने में ध्यान मत दो, समझने में ध्यान दो. Molar mass of a molecule of any compound or element, because the molecule can represent the compound or an element also, is also known to you. But for this you need to do some basic calculation, but it is known to you. कैसे? Let's say we are trying to do for H2SO4. I'm trying to find out what is the molar mass ठीक है ना? So molar mass will be what? Molar mass will be, this is a molecule. It will be the sum of the molar mass of each individual atoms present. Hydrogen is how much? 1 into 2. Sulfur is 32 into 1. Oxygen is 16 into 4. ये आपको 98 ग्राम्स आएगा. देखो तो मोलार मास ऑफ 98 है, देखने की जरूरत नहीं, 98 ही आएगा. 64 प्लस 32 प्लस 2 98. CaCO3 करो 100 आएगा. CaCO3. So this should be, what is the molar mass? Calcium 40 plus carbon 12 plus oxygen 16 into 3. ये 100 आएगा. 16 is the 48 plus 12 plus 40. 60, 40, 100 grams. Have you understood this or not? Molar mass is nothing. If you don't cry in the questions, or molar mass is not given. Molar mass is always in your hands. If it is for an atom, it's very easy. Just look at the periodic table. That's the molar mass. If it is for a molecule, then see all the constituents. That is what we wrote. Initially at the start, I had written here, sigma. How do you find molecular mass that you found out in your exam as 148 mgCO3? How did you find it? You added the respective relative atomic mass. Now you add the respective molar masses. Number तो वही है ना, देखो वही 16 ही खेल रहा है सब में. Earlier as a kiddo you used to work on this. Now you will be working on this one. But how does the number change? The number is the same. 16, 16. ठीक है? समझ में आया? Okay. Now, can I rub this portion? If these two are known to you, then another thing you should know is now when we do a reaction, okay, when we do a reaction, let's take a reaction. Our reaction is C plus O2 gives me CO2. Now, how did you read this reaction as? One atom of carbon reacts with one molecule of oxygen to give one molecule of CO2. Now we won't read it like that. We won't read it like that, because those will give me the results in what? Zimbabwean dollars, means gram atomic mass. उससे हमें लेना नहीं. We are interested to actually produce CO2 in a industry. So we need actual grams. Now for actual grams के लिए किस में आना पड़ेगा? Molar mass में आना पड़ेगा. So this reaction will be now read as 1 mole of carbon atoms reacts with 1 mole of, what should I write? Oxygen molecule to give you 1 mole carbon dioxide molecule. Have you understood? Clear? What is the mass of 1 mole of carbon molecules? The molar mass. The molar mass. Let's see the mass analysis now. Avogadro का law लगाते हैं. Mass analysis. Mass of 1 mole is the molar mass. Molar mass means what? 1 mole का mass. Molar mass. इसका molar mass कितना है? 12 grams. Now I am talking in Ratnadik terms. Exact 12 grams molar mass. What is the molar mass of this? Molar mass of each oxygen is 16. 16 plus 16, 32 grams. So this has to be how much? 44 grams. These are exact. ये रिएक्शन ये कहता है कि अगर आप 12 ग्राम ऑक्सीजन के साथ 12 ग्राम कार्बन को फुल्ली बर्न करना चाहते हो, if you want to burn off 12 grams carbon completely, pure carbon, how much oxygen do you need? 32 grams of oxygen you need. You get my point? And then you land up in how much? 44 grams of CO2. None of the reactants will be present. All will be exhausted. A new product will be formed. This is the standard stoichiometry. Stoichiometry is like a recipe. To make a 1 pound cake, please use 4 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, this much of sugar, this much of milk. तभी तुम्हारा केक बनेगा. केक इज अ रेसिपी. केक इज नॉट इंडियन कुकिंग कि तुम जाके ऐसे ही थोड़ा हल्दी, थोड़ा सा जीरा पाउडर, नमक स्वाद अनुसार, ऐसे नहीं बनता है. केक इज अ रेसिपी. दिस इज एक्जैक्टली रेसिपी. This is the stoichiometry. That's why many people say, what is the stoichiometry of your biryani? You spoke so nice. So when you make cake, if you want to make good cake and bread, you have to buy three things: one weighing scale and some measuring cups. If you do वो अंदाज वाला ना, एक दिन केक ठीक बनेगा. Cake making is an art, not a science. Because if you make a sabzi, you have total control on the sabzi. Anytime the salt is less, you can add more. Cake and bread, once it goes into the oven, you have no control after that. उसको निकाल नहीं सकते हो. So either a good product will come out or a trash will come out. In order that every time you bake the right cake, you should have a weighing scale. If they say 500 grams of flour, please make 500 grams only. ए हमारा माँ लोग जैसे ऐसे ले लेके दे देता ना, ऐसे केक नहीं बनेगा, तब कभी हार्ड बनेगा. So chemistry is just like making cake. Understood? This is the balanced equation, and from that, this is the standard recipe. But question arises, sir, right now I have got 12 grams of carbon, but the environment where I am has got only 24 grams of oxygen. पूरा कार्बन जलेगा? यही तो स्टैंडर्ड है, नहीं जलेगा. So some carbon will remain unburned, right? So whenever we go in an industry to do any reaction, is it possible that we will be always coming up with these figures only? No. Or is it possible that we will always come with multiples of these figures only? No. When I am trying to make a cake at my home, doesn't necessarily that I have got 800 eggs, but I may have 40 kg flour in my house. I don't want that many cakes. So what you will get in every problem is not this. You will get something called given mass. Given mass means how much of flour do you have in your house? आपके घर में कितना फ्लावर है? This is the recipe for making cake, right? 12 ग्राम के साथ 32 ग्राम को मिलाना है, तभी केक बनेगा. So, but our friend Sasra has got one dabba full of carbon in our house. So we need to convert that carbon, her given mass, into how many moles does she have? Because end of the day, 1 mole carbon है तो 1 mole oxygen चाहिए हमें. So we need to convert. So that conversion is, how do you convert given mass to mole? This is the conversion that we will be, given mass to mole. This is a very important conversion that you will need. Okay? So, shall we do it? Easy way में करें इसको? Okay. What is molar mass? Molar mass is equal to what? Mass of 1 mole, which is equal to molecular mass. Molar mass means is equal to mass of 1 mole, which is equal to your molecular mass. ठीक है? अब हमें यहाँ से निकालना है. Say suppose we have got an element. We have an element, and in this element is carbon. So the data that we know are, what is this molar mass? How do we know it? Straight away refer to the periodic table. 12 gram. Understood? And then we also know the given mass. This is how much Sahasra has. Suppose Sahasra has 48 grams. Sahasra has got 48 grams of carbon in her kitchen. So you need to find out how many moles. How do you find out now? It is always given mass by molar mass. 48 divided by 12. She has 4 moles. 12 gram means 1 mole. So MOLES नहीं लिखते बेटा, MOL लिखते हैं. 12 gram is 1 mole. So 48 grams will be 4 moles. So formula लिख लीजिए. ये 11 तक जरूरी होगा. Number of moles, and number of moles is very much necessary for any calculation, because why? Every calculation will be based on the chemical reaction, and the chemical reaction को हम कैसे read करते हैं? ऐसे read करते हैं. 1 mole reacts with 1 mole. So unless and until if our friend Sahasra says, sir, I've got 48 grams of carbon, doesn't make any sense to me. Tell me how many moles you have. तो Sahasra बोलते हैं, सर मेरे पास 4 मोल कार्बन है, मेरे को सब यूज करना है. 4 मोल कार्बन है तो आप 4 मोल ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल्स लाइए, अदरवाइज आपका केक नहीं बनेगा. गॉट इट? राइट. So number of moles is equal to always given mass over molecular mass, or you can write, this is also written as molar mass. Same thing. Either you write molecular mass or you write molar mass. This is a very, very important formula for you. Because why is this important for us? When we start a reaction, we may not start it exactly with 12 grams or multiples of. So if you multiply this with 2 and 2 and 2, then also it's a valid reaction. But aisa thodi hai. For very good example, where does this oxygen come from? When you are burning carbon, where does the oxygen come from? Atmosphere. Atmosphere में क्या 32 ग्राम है क्या? Unlimited oxygen है. But we are going to suck out how much? 32 grams for every 12 grams. So end of the day, any reaction given to you, the first step will be to write the balanced chemical equation, and that will give you the standard recipe. Once you know the standard recipe, rest is all unitary method. So you have to convert everything in moles. Moles की भाषा में सब जाना है. हम kg में बात नहीं करते हैं यहाँ. Mole, 1 mole, 2 mole. So obviously we will know how much of grams you have. Is this much clear? Any question you let me know. So we'll do one small problem first. Easy problem एक करेंगे और उसके बाद we'll go for tough level problems. Easy problem from the previous. So we go back to our page number 92 solved example. Okay, page 92 solved example we'll do. But how many of you have understood? Do you now understand what is a balanced chemical equation? What is the importance of balanced chemical equation? How to read moles and how to read the equation in terms of moles? This is very important. Don't read now like small kiddos as atoms and molecules. You will read as mole, mole, mole. Okay? Chale? Kare problem? Aa jao. Any question, anyone? If not, I'm going ahead. Chalo. Very easy, very, very easy. Just needs your class 6 level knowledge, nothing more than that. Unitary method, you know, right? How to do. If 5 pens cost 50, how much will 1 pen cost? 5 rupees, 10 rupees. If 5 pens cost 50 means 1 pen. How much will 12 pens cost? 120 rupees. They will not give you the price of 1 pen. They'll give you, it's like direct variations you have done, right? Plus plus is same. Okay, let's see. So they're saying 0.24 grams of magnesium. I'm just writing the data first. 0.24 grams of magnesium. Okay, this must be the real grams of magnesium. React with 16 grams of oxygen. This is reacting with 0.16 gram of oxygen. Okay, reacting with 0.6 gram of oxygen to produce 0.40, and it produces 0.40 grams of magnesium oxide. This problem belongs to the previous chapter. Did we study moles in previous chapter? No. So they have actually given you a kiddo stuff. If this stuff is not given to you also, इधर देख उसको क्यों देख रहा है यार? उसको देखने से तुम प्रेजुडिस हो जाओगे. तुम यहाँ देखो ना, उसको मेरे पढ़ाने के बाद देखो. उसको पढ़ के तुम क्या कर रहे हो ना? You are trying to decode the problem. Then there is no need of me ना. इसमें ध्यान दो ना. That book will never tell you, is this an important, they have given you this data, na? We can just trash this data. That's what I'm telling you. You can just trash this data. This data is not required by you. Because the level of information that you have right now, this data is not, it is absolutely trash. Shall we see how is it trash? Aja. Magnesium is reacting with oxygen to form what? Magnesium oxide. Get me the equation for that. Get me the equation. Yeah, you have to know. Magnesium, फिर से 2 mg. mg plus, see how they are available in the universe. Mg and oxygen will make what? Divalent, divalent. So straight away MgO, no MgO2. ये नहीं आ रहा है तो फिर क्यों किताब देखता है? 2 mg नहीं चाहिए मुझे. What is magnesium oxide's chemical formula? MgO, yes, it should come spot on now. Mg is in group 2. So it is a +2 cation. Oxygen is -2. So straight marriage. MgO. है ना? ये आना चाहिए. MgO. This is the standard equation. Oxygen is available in the atmosphere in molecular form. हो गया? अब देखो ये बैलेंस है कि नहीं? बैलेंस तो नहीं है. अब इसको हमें बैलेंस करना पड़ेगा. 2mg plus O2 2mgO. क्या बैलेंस है? बैलेंस है. अब अपना मोल वाला नॉलेज लगाओ इसमें. What is the knowledge you have? 2 moles मैग्नीशियम, मोल्स का शॉर्ट फॉर्म है. 2 moles of मैग्नीशियम क्या? एटम react with 1 mole oxygen molecule to give you 2 mole MgO, right? Come on, get me the figure for 2 moles of oxygen atom in terms of mass. 1 magnesium is how much? 1 magnesium is 24. So 2 magnesiums will be how much? 48. 48 grams react with oxygen. That means 32 grams. Agreed? Gives you how much? Do it. Mg is यही तो जाके बनेगा ना. 8 plus 2 10 का 0 1 carry over 1 and 3 4 80 grams. Is this clear or not? Have we understood this or not? ये हो गया ना. इसको ऐड करने से तो ये होगा. एक ही तो बात है. अरे यार mg का कितना है? 24, ऑक्सीजन 16. और देख बुक देखना. मेरे पढ़ाने से मेरे पे तो भरोसा नहीं है ना. किताब देखते रहते हैं ना. अभी समझ में आया? यही तो Lavoisier chopped off his head to explain you this. Mass of the reactant should be equal to mass of the products. Pay attention. That's why I say. Got it? Can we go for some reduction in numbers now? Let's divide it by 2. 24 grams will react with 16 grams to produce 40 grams. Agreed? Let's divide it by 100. 0.24 grams will react with 0.16 grams to give you 0.40 grams. Is this not the same nonsense stuff that you are writing? You don't need this if you know this. So next time when I'm teaching, isme do. I may be wrong somewhere, but I will try to make it better for you. ये नहीं चाहिए आपको, because now you have learned little bit of the next chapter. So this information which is given to us is trash. We don't need it. Let's go to the next part, the part of the question. What does it say? Now it says, how much of magnesium oxide will be produced by burning 12 grams of magnesium? Wow, very good. So they have asked you how much of this will be produced if you are burning 12 grams. So how much will be produced, right? We don't need to look at this side at all. If we get the matching contribution of oxygen, mass of the reactants is what is the product. Because nothing gets destroyed in this process. ये एक ऐसा reaction है जहां मैदा and sugar will be completely used and cake will be formed. कुछ भी बचेगा नहीं. ठीक है? तो ये reaction ये आप नहीं कर पाओगे. Like a kiddo, 0.24 grams required. How many? Because we can do from here itself, but we are going by this. But since you now know everything. Can we not do a little bit of jugglery? 48 divided by 4 is 12. So 32 divided by 4 is 8. 20. We're not from IGCSE. We're from the Desi background, but the Desi technique works better. You know this? Yes. But still, since you are going by your method, we'll do like this. 0.24 gram required. 0.16 gram what? Oxygen, right? Or 0.24 grams produce how much? 0.40. Therefore 12 gram will produce. But आप जब कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में जाते हो ना, इससे पूरा रिलेशन बन जाता. She is very rich, therefore she makes cakes out of 48 grams of flour and 32 grams. We are not that rich. We have got only 12 grams of flour. What is that as a ratio? 1/4. So we will take milk also 1/4, and our overall cake will be also 1/4. Yes, Kirtan, you are giving a vague look. No, I know. He's thinking why the drums teacher doesn't come today. It would have been so nice. Hey, your drum sir has nowadays started some new technique. He is now coming inside Pebble City by 7:50. You are staying at M Tower, and yesterday you left the class at 7:53, 54. I will now tell the security no entry before this. Because to walk from the main gate to M Tower, it takes at least, how does he come from here to there? Whatever it is. My class is still 8. Ask him to sit in sofa and enjoy television. चला जाता है ये फटाक से. चले, ये समझ में आया? So these type of problems which are there in the previous chapter, they will never come to you, but the problems that will come will be the problems of the next chapter. So have you understood? Now let's take one more. चलो, इसका molar mass बताओ तो क्या होगा? C2H5OH. This is known as ethanol. Get me the molar mass of this on whole number basis. Don't do that point wala karobar. Nearest whole number. I want all the online 3 girls to give me this figure. The molar mass of ethanol. Yes. Molar mass of ethanol. तू भी करेगा, बड़ा थोड़ी रहेगा. हो गया बेटा, ये चैप्टर पहली बार कर रहे हो, मुंह पे मत करो, हाथ से लिख के करो. हो गया? Let them give the answer. Molar mass of ethanol. आराम से करो. What are present in, see, if you are very kacha, who all are present in ethanol? Carbon is present, hydrogen is present, and oxygen is present. है ना? Carbon is present with how many count, beta? 2 counts. Hydrogen is present with 6 count. Oxygen is present with तो करो उसका कितना? Carbon का 12 grams. Very good. Hydrogen is 1 gram and oxygen is 16 gram. 12 दूनी 24, 6 और 16. 16, 22, 22 and 4, 46 grams. 46 grams of ethanol. Ethanol, you know, ethanol is the alcohol component. What acid? Ethanol is alcohol. It is the alcohol which is present in all alcoholic drinks. It is the same thing with which the starch, the swab that is put on your deltoid muscles before injecting you is ethanol. Ethanol is alcohol, the same thing that is present in your nail polish remover. तो दारू लोग पीते हैं, उसमें ethanol ही present रहता है. ठीक है? Now, cough syrup has alcohol in the range of around 4 to 4.5%. Beer will have around 8%. Whiskey will have around 40%. Vodka will have 40%. Means if you have 100% whiskey bottle, then 40% is ethanol. And if that ethanol is made from the industrial process, the whiskey will be cheaper in the market. And if it is brought, that ethanol is made from fermentation of grapes and other fruits in Scotland, then it will be a costly alcohol. समझ में आया? चलो. अब मेरे पास है 17 grams of ethanol. How many moles of ethanol do I have? How many moles? हाथ से नहीं होगा ये calculation. How many moles do I have? Ajay, this one, what did you find out? What is 46? Tell me, what is 46? Huh? 46 is given mass. Molar mass. Molar mass of ethanol. Molar mass of ethanol is 46 grams. This means 1 mole ethanol is 46 gram. It means 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 ethanol molecules is 46 grams. This is a standard. But I gave you how much? 17. This is given mass. ये हुआ given mass. मेरे घर में इतना ही है. So number of moles is equal to given mass over molar mass. Now do it. 46 divided by 17. कितना आया बच्चा? Sorry, उल्टा बोल दिया. 17 by 46 कितना आया? 0.37 मोल. अब समझ में आया मोल का कैलकुलेशन कैसे करते हैं? Understood? Get me one equation now. hydrogen reacts with nitrogen as a gas to form a deadly gas called ammonia. How many of you know the story of ammonia? Ammonia gas was actually invented artificially by a person called Fritz Haber. फ्रिट्ज हैबर ने इस दुनिया में जो जो चीज बनाया, जर्मन केमिस्ट है, लोगों ने उसका सब गलत इस्तेमाल किया। एमोनिया बनाया, इट्स वेरी रिएक्टिव। इस एमोनिया को लोगों ने यूज किया लोगों को मारने के लिए। हाँ, ये वर्ल्ड वॉर पीरियड में ही है, बट ही नेवर वांटेड इट फॉर दिस थिंग, सो मच सो that even his life also became, his wife also left, सब कुछ हो गया इसका, because every disliked him because all his inventions went on bad things. Fritz Haber is the name of the person. Okay, right. So ये बैलेंस है, ये बैलेंस नहीं है, इसको बैलेंस करना पड़ेगा। कैसे बैलेंस करेंगे? तो 3H2 2NH3 अभी बैलेंस हो गया। Have you balanced? Just get me the recipe. First get me the recipe. कितना ग्राम कितना लेने से कितना ग्राम क्या बनेगा? Get me the recipe. Before recipe, okay, children, first write the standard reaction. Please observe what I'm saying. Standard equation. With red pen, you balance the equation. Step number 2, you balance the equation with the red pen. Third, you write the mole wala recipe. I want to see what is the mole recipe. No calculators first. Properly. Now, where is your red pen? First, you write hydrogen as a gas reacts with nitrogen as a gas to give ammonia, which is also a gas. Then use your red pen in next step, so that you people say that sir also is working hard, that's why I'm writing. Otherwise, you all are big time gulibats. This one like go 3 and this is 2. Now it is balanced. Now on step number 3, you write the mole wala recipe. What is the mole recipe, Shastra? Yes, yeah, Nidhi, give me the mole recipe for this. What is the mole recipe? I have written the balanced equation. Step number 2, you give me the mole recipe. No, not given mass divided by. That means no pay, you are not paying attention. What is the mole recipe? This is the equation. So what is the, have you seen a Cadbury's Dairy Milk? Have you seen the packet? So behind the packet, what is written? Every 100 gram contains, right? You may buy 1 kilo of one chocolate of Horlicks, but it will be written on the backside what? Every 100 gram contains. That is the recipe. इसका recipe बताओ. हाँ, right. That's why I say don't keep writing. If you don't understand, then तो कोई लाभ नहीं ना. 3 moles of hydrogen molecule react with 1 mole of nitrogen molecule to give you 2 moles of ammonia molecules. Now get me. Okay, later on when we study this chapter deeper, 1 minute. इधर देखो, मैं जानता हूं, मैं थोड़ा रोक लेता हूं तो गुस्सा आता है. When we go one level deeper, we are dealing with all gases. In gases, molar mass does not come into play. Something that comes into play is called molar volume. That we will read a little bit later. All gases will have something. Gases में mass से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, वॉल्यूम से काम करते हैं. बट अभी हम मास से करेंगे. चलो इसका मास रिएक्शन लिखो. व्हाट इज द स्टैंडर्ड मास वाला? थ्री मोल्स ऑफ हाइड्रोजन मॉलिक्यूल लेगी ना कितन डार्लिंग? 3 moles of hydrogen molecule, not hydrogen atom. So each hydrogen molecule is how many grams? There I knew that you will make that mistake. 2 grams. One hydrogen atom is 2 gram. 1 gram. This is one hydrogen molecule. 2 grams. So this will become how much? 6 grams. 6 grams of, you can write hydrogen. Got it? Reacts with nitrogen is 14 to 28. So this will be 28 grams of nitrogen to give you how much? 34 grams of ammonia. 6 grams of hydrogen react with this. Clear? Nitrogen is 14. One nitrogen is 14. N2 molecule has 2 nitrogen. Acha, can you now write the fifth form of this equation in terms of atoms, only atoms, only atoms. Let me see how many of you can do it. No. Count of atoms. So many crores of atoms. I now want the fifth one. ये तो gram हुआ ना? 100 grams sarso means mustard. If I throw on the floor, will be so many granules of sarso? Granules. I want the granular count now. Yes. So get me, and don't multiply. You just write it 3 into 6 into. I want that number like that. 6.022. Let it be like that. I don't want it to multiply. But okay. Dictate me. Let me see how much Kirtan has understood. Okay, Kirtan, dictate this one. Yes. It's as simple. I'm not asking you to multiply. Tell me. 6 into 6.02 10 to the power 23. What? Mole grams. 1 mole itself, you are writing 12, 1 dozen eggs, then you are writing 12 is equal to 12 eggs, not 12 dozen eggs. What did I teach you then? 1 mole is how many count? 1 mole is how many count? What is so difficult in this? 1 dozen is how many? 1 pair is how many? So 1 mole is how many?
Similarly, divide 2 by 6 into 0.
Wait, 1 mole is how much? Answer me. 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. It's a count, it's count. 1 mole of slaps on your cheek means how many slaps? 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 slaps. Have you understood? 3 moles of hydrogen molecule. Each hydrogen molecule has how many atoms? 2 atoms. So you have already written as now. I want everything in atom count. So what should be the atoms here? What is this? What is this? I don't want to hear atoms and molecules. I know only one unit of measurement now at grade 9 and 10. What is it? Mole. This is what? जोर से बोलो ना, गलत हो गए ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा. 1 mole of hydrogen molecule. 1 mole hydrogen molecule. है ना? But your sir is asking everything in terms of atoms. How many atoms? Each molecule is what? So it becomes how much? If this also is difficult for you to understand, how was this fellow formed? Wait, don't write. Look at this equation. Read this equation in terms of moles now. 1 mole of hydrogen atom reacts with 1 mole of hydrogen atom to form 1 mole of hydrogen molecule. तो जब तुम यहाँ पे ले तो टोटली कितने मोल्स रिएक्ट किए? 2 moles react करे. So when it is 1 mole of hydrogen molecule, it means 2 moles of hydrogen atoms. Take 3 moles of hydrogen molecule. That means 6 moles of hydrogen atoms. So 6 into 6.023 into so many hydrogen atoms. Are we fine? Reacts with what? 1 mole of nitrogen molecule. 1 mole of nitrogen molecule is 2 moles of hydrogen atoms. So 2 into 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 nitrogen atoms, which gives me how much? 2 moles of NH3. 2 moles of NH3 means 2 moles of NH3 means 2 moles, that is 2 into 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 nitrogen atoms. You get it? And H3 and 2, that means 6 plus 6 into 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 hydrogen atoms. Now just see Antonine-Lavoisier reaction. Is this present on right hand side? Is this present on right hand side? If you have understood this, then only you have understood stoichiometry, else you have not understood. Else every problem that you do, you will do like this. How much did you get? 16.8. Yeah, I also got 16.8. Ma'am said it's 16.8 is the right answer. That is called Dumbo idiot method of doing mathematics, where you have no confidence upon yourself. You rely till somebody else has solved the problem. अगर ये समझ में आया है ना, ऐसे घर में जाके कुछ reactions करो. Mg plus O2, MgO. I'm not giving you balanced. C plus O2. This is balanced. CO2. CaO plus CO2. CaCO3. आज घर में ये तीनों ऐसे बिना कर देखो, तुमसे बनता है कि नहीं? And you all are so lucky. You all have calculator. CBSE वालों को calculator ही नहीं है, वो करते हैं इसको. And then we'll do CBSE grade 11 problems. We'll not do all this. Ready to do CBSE grade 11 problems? We'll do. 2 years ago, the guy I used to teach here, we used to do the CBSE grade 11 problems. सब कर देता था वो. CaO, calcium oxide, reacts with carbon dioxide to give calcium carbonate. Hey, this reaction I have taught many times. Lime water turns milky wala. Studies cannot be done, Kirtan, only on the day you come. Now you all are maturing. There is in Cambridge, the only problem is grade 8 was like toys. Don't you feel grade 8 science was a toy now when you read all this? 8, the chapter till before this, I never got pleasure. What solid change melts and abhi chemistry मजा आना शुरू हुआ है ना, ये chemistry है. और ये jump जो आपके लिए है ना Cambridge में, ये jump है, ये jump. CBSE बच्चा ये सब पढ़ता ही नहीं है. That's why this is very advanced chemistry. And आगे चल के जो सब आएगा ना industrial, much more. This is just the beginning of the road to the burial ground. अभी burial ground आगे बाकी है. And I'm not trying to fear it. But if you read systematically every day, आपका पूरा बनेगा. ठीक है? Right, madam?